Brentford boss Thomas Frank makes his return to Stamford Bridge on Sunday, months after he was overlooked for the Chelsea manager job. Before Enzo Maresca was named Blues boss in the summer, 4 names were in contention for the gig. Alongside the current head coach, Ipswich Town's Kieran McKenna, then-Brighton boss Roberto Zerbi and Frank were said to be considered. McKenna pledged his loyalty to the team he had guided from League One to the top flight in back-to-back promotions before Zerbi was ruled out. This left Premier League experienced Frank, with his humble, adaptable, and utterly charming manner, up against the lesser-known Maresca, who has demonstrated why he was Chelsea's first choice over the past 5 months. The Italian will take on Brentford with an opportunity to move 4 points ahead of third-placed Arsenal while reducing the gap to league leaders Liverpool, both of whom dropped points on Saturday. Meanwhile, Frank continues to be linked with virtually every available managerial position, as reported by Football London. He was briefly linked to the Blues in 2022 before Graham Potter was appointed, and his name resurfaced 9 months later when the search for a permanent successor began anew. The Bees boss has been open about his future and refuses to rule out a move elsewhere, though it seems unlikely that an opening will emerge at West London rivals Chelsea. "We all have an ego," he said. "Mine's not the biggest, but it's not the smallest, and it's always the ego that gets in the way of good performances and life. Also, I'm realistic in many ways. I'm enjoying my life here. This is probably the perfect football life, working in a good club in London, in the best league in the world with good players. We can compete. Do we want to win titles? Yes, that would be nice, but it's not do or die. I still think it's possible to win a cup, and that's the aim, to go as far as possible." When pondering the possibility of a big club approaching him, he remains open. "If a big club one day comes to knock on my door, then I need to consider it, but it's not something I'm hunting. I could stay in Brentford for, well, forever is probably a crazily long time, but I could stay here for a further sustained period. One day maybe I need to try something else, I don't know. I'm more open. I'm happy here, and sometimes you need to be careful what you wish for. Also, in football you can't plan. Keep your head down, work and see where it takes you." His stance remains consistent and humble, yet his achievements, particularly Brentford's promotion, draw favourable comparisons to Maresca's success at Leicester. Observers who have followed both Frank and Maresca's rise from the second tier will not be surprised by their respective successes. One has received immediate backing from an elite club, while the other continues to grind away with limited resources, all while achieving respectable league finishes. However, Frank would argue his Brentford side is doing something few others can, matching Chelsea in terms of entertainment. In the 15 matches leading up to Sunday, his team has scored 31 league goals, surpassed only by Chelsea and Liverpool, and conceded 28. Ipswich in 18th have conceded the same number, while Crystal Palace, 1 spot above, have let in 8 fewer. Speaking ahead of Sunday's derby, Frank said, "I expect an interesting game with 2 good teams. They are maybe the best team in the Premier League right now. They are maybe even more in form than Liverpool, even though they are top of the league. They are playing incredible football and are well coached. Maresca has done a top job so far with his coaching staff, and they look extremely dangerous. They have so many threats going forward and have top-quality players all over the pitch. I expect an unbelievably difficult game. They are massive favourites, but, of course, we believe that we can compete against anyone and we believe we can win." This match will be another opportunity for Frank to demonstrate his worthiness of the resources Maresca now commands. The Dane has triumphed in each of his 3 previous Premier League visits to SW6, and it's these kinds of displays that have earned him such admiration as a coach. Frank remains content at his current home, which he described as one of the best clubs in the world, just this summer. He has consistently reiterated he's very, very happy with Brentford and said he will only join another club if it excites him and he feels he can make an immediate impact. With the Chelsea boat having seemingly sailed in that regard, a 4th straight win at Stamford Bridge on Sunday would be a solid consolation prize. The derby duel will mark the maiden meeting between Frank and Maresca, with the former perhaps having a point to prove on his return to familiar territory.